E4. Let's see. Yeah, it's time for a Sicilian, it looks like. Gonna play a classical Sicilian. If I get the chance. So far we're on the main line. Yeah, this is the point where you can choose between the classical, the knight, or the dragon, or the Scheveningen. And he's going for a kind of fast attack, the Yugoslav attack, that is often played against the dragon. It's not as effective against the classical variation, but it's still something to watch out for. Since he retreated this knight, he's still set up to castle queenside. I have to be wary of that. Let's develop this bishop here. And he's developed his light squared bishop. Let's see if he intends to castle kingside. If he castles kingside, no, he's setting up for a queenside castle. That's what I was. That's the typical plan with the Yugoslav attack, but he's got the knight here blocking this pawn, so maybe I can get something against this pawn. Let's push the early d pawn. This usually catches them by surprise, and you have to do that before they castle. If it castles now, castles queenside, to get extra pressure on the d pawn, then you can just push that pawn, forking the pieces. So not good. So he takes. I think that was probably necessary. He can keep taking. And I'll take with the bishop. Now if he castles, I am going to have to retreat my bishop and allow a queen trade. But I have a decent position after all of that. Yep. Bishop can't really be defended there. He takes, I take, he takes, I take. I can, the final take probably with the bishop, so I could still castle if I wanted to, although keeping the king in the center has got points too. He can move his queen with tempo, but I'll move my queen. Okay, let's defend. He didn't go for the trade, which I'm happy to see that he didn't go for the trade, because I think it leads to a more interesting game. He's probably trying to win this pawn. Yeah, it looks like it. So I'm going to make sure this pawn is well defended. And then he can mess up my pawn structure a little on the queen side, but this will also give me open lines to attack his king with. So yes, if he plays bishop takes knight, I plan to take back with the pawn. So I'll have these two pawns that are split, but I'll have the bishop pair and pair of rooks. I'll still have the queen for attacking, and I can castle or move my king up to here either way. This putting the king on f7 is starting to look attractive to me. Yeah, he did. He went for it. He resigned. We can look at this in the analysis board. Yeah, I don't know what his thought was. Where was he trying to put the queen? If we go to the analysis board, and of course this is losing, but if we go here, this is a position which is actually minus 0.2 evaluated by the as evaluated by the chess engine here at lichess. So, I mean, it's just a comfortable position for black. Let's say he brings a rook to the center. I think that's the most logical. Castling or going here. Yeah, you can see this is one of the options it's considering, are castling. Yeah, it does lead to a bishop versus knight endgame, it looks like. And he's got an active enough position that with correct play he can neutralize any kind of attack I want to get going here. So about an even game. Maybe, let's see, what's his best move here? His best move here is the knight move, according to this. And then my best move is to either castle or push the pawn. Let's castle. And then still it wants to trade. Yeah, it wants to get rid of the bishop pair, it looks like. But anyway, I think this classical line with an early d5 push is an interesting way to play the classical Sicilian with the early d5. Let's see if we can get a rapid game. Here we go. So play knight f6 against d4. Allows me to play this anti-London system line that I've been developing, involving the Queen's Indian defense, basically. So we'll see how that works in a slower time control against a well-rated player. Always good to check out your openings against someone strong. He's not quite playing a traditional London system because he hasn't played c3, but he did get this bishop out early, so it resembles the London system. Going to continue with my normal moves. Looks like he's delaying developing the knight as well. Maybe he doesn't like the pin and we get into a some unusual kind of Nimzo Indian, which can happen in this setup because this fianchetto is not unheard of in the Nimzo Indian. It's quite a standard move. But yeah, looks like he's avoiding that entirely. So let's go ahead and castle. And then we'll work on the rest of our setup, which usually involves pushing this pawn forward, bringing the knight here, and then trying to figure out whether it's better to push the e-pawn or the d-pawn in the center. It's hard. It's hard to get in this e-pawn push, even with the pawn on d6 supporting it, because there's so much force already arrayed against it. Okay, so he has got a regular London system set up. It was just kind of delaying this c3 move, I guess, waiting to see what I play. So I will continue with my normal setup. So right now, for example, even after putting the knight here, I still won't be able to push this because he takes, I take, he takes, I take, he takes. He's got one extra piece. So I need both the knight and the rook, and I need to drop my bishop back if I want to get that move in, which is why sometimes it's easier to go with d5, although that blocks in this bishop. So pros and cons. We will see which way he castles. He could go in either direction, but he chooses to go queenside. The other way to play this is to leave these guys here and push c5, which is looking more attractive now that I think about it. Now that he's castled on this side, this is looking like a good option. And the rook can easily swing over to the c file, which is where it wants to go. But if he takes, my plan is to take back with the knight. hit some key squares in the center. Taking is probably not the best move here. But if he doesn't take, I can take and open up the c file. It would be at least a half open file against his king. So he steps his king aside. Yeah, he's a little leery of that idea, I guess. So yeah, let's go ahead and take. Then we will put the rook here. My opponent left the game. Okay, came back. Just a momentary disruption. So this is set up for a pretty fierce attack. Yeah, he's probably going to be pushing this pawn next. So let's spend a moment to think about what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep my pawns back. He can kick this knight out of the way, but he can't put his queen here because I've got the bishop controlling that square. There is a danger here, I guess. If I go here with the rook and then he pushes 1, 2, this knight has to move. I guess the knight could go here. This square, you know, is a little bit unstable. And the rook takes up the retreating square. But I guess I will keep this as an idea. He probably does not want to push his c-pawn. So with the knight, bishop, and queen, I've just got a rook and a knight. I still can't get in this d4 move. Let's see. e5. I still can't get an e5. If I play d5 and he kicks and I go here, it's knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, queen takes. So he's got control of this square. So I can't run there. Let's run here for now. He can't put his queen here because knight takes pawn check wins the queen. So he steps back. I could go here now. No, I can't go there. So worth playing as a sacrifice. Pawn up, pawn takes, knight takes, bishop takes. And I can step my bishop aside and attack his bishop while it's pinned. I feel the need to open things up, so let's do this. There's some looseness here on the diagonal, perhaps I can exploit that too. And this knight moves to take here. This knight can move with tempo, and I can maybe pick up the rook in the corner. Yeah. So he's ahead of me on the clock. He's been moving. He hasn't moved too fast, I don't think. So he doesn't immediately jump on the idea of taking this pawn, trying to win a pawn. That's interesting. So now I could put a knight here. He takes, I take, and have a discovery with this bishop against his queen. Although the queen can take here with check. I take, and the rook takes with check. I take back. This knight is defended, and it's no longer pinned. So maybe that's not so good. Knight there, knight there. How about the f-pawn? Nah, I don't like that. I would like this knight to move so that I could put my dark squared bishop here or here. Is there a way to force that? Knight back here and then push this pawn forward. So he pushes, I push. He takes, I take. He takes, I take. I would have to calculate that out more carefully. Let's think about this. He pushes, I push. He takes, he's a piece up. I take, the pieces are even. He takes, okay, didn't go that way. Just blocked. That's interesting. So he did not like my light squared bishop. He wants to get rid of it. So I can develop my knight with tempo. And I don't have to worry about this light squared battery here anymore. Got rid of that light squared bishop. He's stopping to think about where to put his queen. He can't really put it here. I mean, I can chase it away with the rook. So I don't believe it's effective to put it there. He could put it there. You'd have to run to this square, I guess. Run out to a6. Yeah, he can just drop back along here. So my plan is to take. He takes with the knight, huh? Yeah, leaving me with a backwards pawn here. I thought this would be interesting. Hitting the queen, but the knight is no longer supported there. Yeah, maybe that was a little premature, but, well, let's see. Go here. Then he will just win a pawn, right? Let's lift my queen up. If his knight hops in here, I'll drop the bishop back. No, I can't do that. I've got to save my knight. Maybe the knight goes here. Yeah, knight there. I think that's a good move. I think he just wins this pawn here. Unless I can find some clever trick. Knight takes c3. Does not seem to gain much. Because he just replies with pawn takes. And yeah, I just don't have good moves for my knight. So he's going to play take, 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 and then take here. So he'll be a pawn up. And the knight could go here or back to here. Could I defend the knight on the queen side? Yeah, I don't see it. Looks like I'm just going to lose some material here. If he takes with the knight, I will trade it right away to avoid the fork. If he takes with the bishop, though, what do I do? Maybe lift this rook. Can't do that. Maybe I can pin the piece that ends up here by putting a rook behind the queen. Anyway, if he lets me, what I'd like to do is push this and put the knight there. And that might be a nice way to wiggle out of this setup I've got myself into. Actually, that doesn't work. Does not work, because pawn here, knight there, he can just take it. There's a pin on this file. The pins go both ways on that file, on the D file there. Well, probably simplest for white is just to take the bishop. I take back, and then take here. And yeah, it looks like that's what he's doing. He reached the same conclusion. Could even trade rooks and then take here. And that looks like it's just a clean win of a piece. I mean, of a pawn. If the queen takes, I will move my queen to avoid the trade. There is a check here. Maybe sneak into one of these squares. Look at some of these weak pawns over here. So he just chases the queen, yeah. So get on the light squares here. No point in trying to defend that pawn. Although again, if he gives me time, yeah, I will just I could just push it forward. Yeah, but he didn't give me time. Okay, so I have the check. I have queen here. I have knight here. Rook takes, queen takes, and the back rank is still protected, so I'm okay. Or he moves the queen, I take the bishop, so I could get rid of the bishop if I wanted to. The queen could move here, and then if I take the bishop, I get mated. So that's probably not a good idea. Let's go here. Getting low on time now. I've got weak pawns on my queen side, so I can probably find a way to exploit them that way. Now we go here. Queen there. I still have this problem with the mate, don't I? Knight here then. If he lines up to mate me, I can put my rook on f8. Just rook here to stop the mate. Ah, then he's going to put his bishop there. Can attack his rook. You know, I was saying I had a check, but actually the rook was guarding that at one time. At one time I had the check, but after he moved the rook to this file, I no longer had the check there. So but I'm trying to get some kind of perpetual here, trying to sneak a draw in here somehow. Like he takes rook, I take rook with check, and I can come back here to check as well. Too bad my knight's over here on this side. It should be near the king. But yeah, I didn't see a safe square for it moving in this direction. So he just lines up there. Yeah, preparing to mate me. Where do I go? That doesn't work probably, but I was trying to get to a checking square. Doesn't help. Yeah, I just ran out of time too, but I was he had a good position. We can maybe check that out at the ending position there and see if there was a defense. Okay, my king has a little bit of room there. My knight has no no good squares still, but he can take the knight now. It's good the way he is taking his time, even as the clock ticks down. He's still looking for the good moves. It's when I get nervous and play quickly when I get low on time, and of course he does need to move. Did something happen? Did he lose track of time? Well, anyway, that was certainly a victory for white. Here, let's go to the analysis board and see if there was any kind of defense here. A moral victory anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's good that you can be cool and take your time, but let's go to where he's already won the pawn. He did these calculations. So he's a pawn up here. Yeah, it's just +1 for white, so it's not fatal at this point. Okay, it did not like my queen adventure. Best defense was h5. Okay, or h6. Get the king some lift right away. And then also that stops this pawn from coming forward. That makes sense. Okay, but I played here. And then, yeah, it just gets better and better for... yeah, okay, there was just no way to save it. You can see +5, and then it becomes rapidly fatal here. Mate at the... Yeah, so he was probably trying to calculate the mate. There's a mate in 16 here. So, anyway, let's turn this off. So it was a good game. I guess even though I lost, or morally I lost, I will include this. And see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye now.